In this review, I will show you everything the APEX 17R Lite edition has to offer the best I can. This APEX 17R Lite comes with the 8-core Ryzen 7 4800H processor, NVIDIA RTX 2060 graphics, 32GB of DDR4, 512GB of M.2 storage, and a 144Hz screen. This is not a sponsored video at all. Who's going to sponsor a small YouTube channel like this one anyway? So we bought this laptop with our own pocket money with the primary purpose of video editing, which is why we have 32GB of memory. This is not really needed for gaming in my opinion. Overall build quality felt pretty good as it is made of aluminum alloy. It doesn't feel like a premium laptop like the Alienware that we have, but it doesn't feel like a cheap plastic neither, so I would say it is somewhere in between. This laptop weighs almost 2.5 kg or 5.5 pounds, which is quite decent considering that this is a 17-inch laptop. If you look at its competitor like the Razer Blade 17, the Alienware Area 51MR2, the Gigabyte Aorus 17X, or the HP Omen 17, this APEX 17R Lite is lighter than all of them. It may not have the same build quality, but in terms of weight, they definitely managed to make it quite mobile. In terms of dimension, it is quite a big laptop. I mean, come on, it's a 17-inch. What did you expect? But I wouldn't consider it thin because it is 3cm thickness, but it is not a heavy beast neither. I would say it is somewhere in between also. At the back, you will find two mini display ports, one HDMI, one USB-C for data transfer, and the power port. On the left side, there is one Ethernet port, one USB 2.0, one headphone jack, and one microphone jack. Whereas on the right side, we have an SD card reader and two USB 3.0 ports. Having three USB ports may seem a bit less if you're planning to use it as a desktop replacement, but it is perfect for a mobile machine. There are plenty of air ventilation holes at the back of the machine and its sides, which allows quite a decent airflow to cool down the computer. We will see later on how the APEX 17R Lite holds in terms of temperature while gaming or video editing. With this magnesium alloy chassis, it doesn't catch very much your fingerprint, and I tend to sweat quite a lot from my palm, so you don't need to clean it very often. On the back of the screen, the logo of Aftershock is engraved there in the shape of an A and a dot. It has a somewhat glossy mirror finish to it, so when the light is directed on it, it is quite shiny. I couldn't open the screen with one hand only. The hinge is quite wobbly in general. I would have definitely preferred it to be a bit sturdier. And this is quite noticeable when you tap strongly on the laptop's keyboard. 144Hz is definitely quite good for a gaming laptop, even though I know that for some people they would still want more. For those who not only like to play games but also do some photo video editing, you will be glad to hear that the screen is able to display 72% of the NTSC color gamut, which is about 99% of the sRGB color gamut. In the common man's language, the screen is able to reproduce the perfect color for internet media. The touchpad clicks down anywhere and feels quite smooth. It reminds me of the design of the MacBook. You can double tap the top left corner to lock the touchpad. There is a keyboard button which allows you to switch between the performance modes, Office, Gaming or Turbo. It is unfortunately next to the power button, so be careful with it. The overall experience of the keyboard is on point. There is an RGB backlighting which you can configure. There is a number pad which a lot of people will appreciate. The one thing that I don't really like is how the arrows are so cramped up. I would have preferred it with a little bit of space around them. The laptop comes with a gaming center software which allows you to configure a number of general settings. How your Windows button react, whether the USB power source works or not when the laptop is in hibernation, and more. It also allows you to control the keyboard lighting, which is by the way a single zone only. So it will be the same color for the entire keyboard. From the software, you can also control the performance mode and monitor your processor, graphic and memory performance and temperature. For the RGB configuration, there are three modes: monochrome, which is a permanent single color, colorful, which will randomly change color every few seconds, and manual, which allows you to choose a panel of color and the interval in which the color will change. Here is what we are looking at with only CPU tasks under Cinebench R20. There is quite a significant increase of performance between Office and the gaming mode, and similarly between the gaming and the turbo mode. I noticed something a bit odd on the result here. It is around 7% less than the result of other YouTubers out there. I made sure to close all the apps after a fresh reboot, so I am not sure why exactly. If anyone have a clue, don't hesitate to put it down in the comment down below. These are the results on 3D Mark for Night Raid, Firestrike, Time Spy and Skydiver. I have also tested Adobe Premiere Pro with the Puget Systems benchmark, which looks at the live playback but also the export performance. Similarly here, there is a lower performance of around 23% compared to other machines out there. I wonder if it is because of a driver issue or something. Despite the lower performance in Cinebench R20 and Adobe Premiere Pro, I am very happy with this machine for video editing on Premiere Pro. If you have seen my other video on the review of the Apex 17R Lite for video editing, you would know the reasons why. If you are planning to use the built-in SD card reader, take note of the following. The speed of the built-in SD card reader is slower by 55-58% than if you get your own USB card reader. And the USB card reader that I have is a cheap and simple one. I believe with a better one I can achieve even better speed. It is good to have the SD card reader for short transfer, but if you have a lot of files to transfer, I would definitely recommend to get an USB card reader. For the performance of the NVMe storage, the speed test on CrystalDiskMark shows that it is performing as per the spec in terms of read and write speed. Not much to comment on this from me. The Apex 17R Lite is definitely able to run games like StarCraft 2 or Overwatch. I am getting on average 97 FPS on Overwatch and 60 FPS on StarCraft 2, which is plenty enough for a smooth gaming experience. All this was done on the default Ultra setting on each game. If there is a need for more FPS on Overwatch, there is still the option to reduce the graphics quality in order to hit the 144 FPS to match the screen frequency. Thermals were tested with an ambient temperature of around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. Either results were pretty good. On a multimedia usage like watching YouTube, there is barely any noticeable change. The results on the gaming test with Overwatch and StarCraft 2 shows that when pushed, the CPU can get pretty hot up to 84 degrees Celsius while gaming. This can be balanced out with a fan boost or a cooling pad, which work pretty well. At this temperature, the keyboard gets a bit warm but still manageable. Finally, the Cinebench R20, which is testing the CPU, shows that the Apex 17R Lite can get up to 90 degrees Celsius, which is very hot. With this, if you are planning to use this laptop for some heavy load, I would definitely recommend to get a cooling pad in order to make sure that it doesn't overheat or before it starts to thermal throttling. Aftershock is the company selling this laptop in Singapore and Australia. Elsewhere, you may see this laptop under a different brand and name like Eluktronics RP-17, XMG Core 17, and with a slightly different configuration. They all allow you to customize quite a number of items. You can choose, for example, which processor, graphic card, memory or storage you want. So what did you think of this budget 17-inch Ryzen gaming laptop? Put down your comment down below in the comment section, and if you want to see any specific test or benchmark, don't hesitate to write it down also. And finally, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to get subscribed. Thank you.